Well, what do you think? The true story of Judy Bryant.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, thanks very much. That's very encouraging.
Sorry.
Well, it's all there. How you got yourself put in here to be with Sharon, the Jock Stewart business, how you got busted when you're on parole, the whole bit. I know I might have gone over the top a bit at the end, but hell, you shouldn't have copped a charge just because some little tart pinched a drunk's wallet.
No.
Well, what do you think?
Oh, well, it's great, you know. It's very good. I just wish you wouldn't print it, that's all.
Well, why not?
Well, it's great. It's emotional. It's great.
Okay, so come on, why can't I publish it? When I wrote that article about Susie, a few people stood up and took notice. Maybe it'd do the same for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
What do you mean?
Laurie.
Haven't you told her you're in here yet?
Well, I meant to, but things were going so well the way they were. You know, Wally was posting my mail to her and bringing me her mail, and I didn't want to cause any more heartache.
Oh, bango, isn't that a brilliant idea?
Well, we could still print it, love. We just don't have to say I'm back inside.
But it's supposed to be a letter from Wentworth. What's the point of writing an article about someone who's living happily ever after on the outside?
I'm sorry, love.
Yeah. It's okay. Oh, I don't know what the hell I'm going to write about now. You wanted to see me, Mrs. Davidson?
Oh, yes. Come in, please. I've just had a call from the City Watch House. Carol Lewis will be brought in tomorrow.
I see.
I'd like you to process her in when she arrives.
Of course.
Not that I think Colleen would be unable to handle it, but there's no point in making things harder for her.
Yes, I know what you mean. Has Colleen spoken to you?
No, why?
Well, I think you should know. She told me her daughter was raped.
Oh, no. I was afraid this might happen. How was she when she told you?
Well, it was just so unnerving. I can't explain it.
Well, in that case, make absolutely sure you process Lewis. Colleen is a fine officer, but I've no doubt she's a good mother, too.
Well, if you want to write about somebody who keeps coming back in here all the time, why don't you write about me?
I couldn't do that, Doreen. You're my mate. If I wrote the truth about you, the whole world would know you're a dill.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Why don't you write about Lizzie? She's led a colourful life. There's bound to be a story or two there.
Yeah, but not much of a crusade, is it? I reckon once the press is running hot, you should keep it that way.
Well, if it's hot stuff you want, honey, here I am.
Oh, and what are you doing back here? I thought the beak was going to let you off.
Yeah, well, that, me old mate, is a long, sad story. There I was, quietly minding my own business when the D's come knocking on the door, acting on a tip-off. Well, what can you do? They found half a kilo of hash in my linen cupboard or so, they said. So who set you up? Haven't a clue.
Could have been the cops.
Well, I don't see why. I've always gotten along very well with the local constabulary. I give them a few bucks every year for their local Christmas fund, and they ring me if there's a bust on. I didn't even know the guy that booked me, Detective Sergeant Ryan. Can't imagine why he'd want to send me down. Now the mongrel's landed me with 12 months.
What made you think you'd get off?
A misguided faith in human nature, Judy. A client of mine with friends in high places always swore he'd get me off the hook if ever I needed it.
Yeah, trust a man to let you down, huh?
Well, mind you, we did have a bit of a blue a few months ago. I thought it was all over and forgotten, but obviously it wasn't. Anyone else has got it in for you. Oh, I've trodden on a few toes in my time, but I can't think of anyone who'd be willing to dump a pound of hash to set me up. Now, the only thing I can think of is that someone stayed in my flat the last time I was in and they left it behind.
You're not telling me you left your flat open?
Of course. A lot of my friends have got keys. People come, people go. And leave a load of hash for you to get busted with.
Well, that's nice, friends.
Listen, honey, why don't you appeal?
Oh, how? What can you do when you're caught with the stuff?
Well, you could ask to see a solicitor, find out what your chances are.
Yeah, it's worth a try.
Well, I suppose so. Have a word with Faulty Faulkner.
He'll tee it up for you. No time like the present.
Mr. Faulkner, when can I see the governor?
What about?
I want to speak to my solicitor about an appeal.
All right, I'll see you later for you.
Nick, I think I'm going to need your help.
Sure, what for?
We've got to collect all the writing material in the place. Pens, pencils, writing pads, everything.
What on earth?
To stop B. Smith writing a stupid article for the newspaper.
But that's ridiculous.
Oh, and personal letters.
Well, they'll be able to write in the rec rooms in the evenings. Then we'll have to collect everything again. Come on, we'll start with Smith's.
They'll only pinch stuff from the workshops.
Then we're going to have to be extra careful, aren't we? You can check Burns' stuff. Who sent it the newspapers this morning?
Steve Faulkner, why?
I think he's got a bit of explaining to do.
I'm sorry, all I know is that I threw the clippings into the waste paper bin. All of them.
Then how do you explain this in Smith's cell?
Oh, it's pretty screwed up. She must have got it out of the bin somehow.
The women don't have access to reception.
Mrs. Morris took one of the clippings out of reception to show Mrs. Davidson.
Which is still here. Now, this clipping either came from reception or somehow found its way into the prison.
I'm sorry, I just can't help. The women seem to have a magical touch when it comes to getting things in and out of the prison. Well, how did Smith get the article out of the dispatch in the first place?
I'm looking into that matter.
Yeah, perhaps they wouldn't break the rules so often if there are a few less rules to break.
Mr. Faulkner, when I gave you the job of looking after the prison newspaper, I expected you to help the women in general, not encourage one woman to start a public crusade against the prison system. I appreciate your views about the gagging of the press, but unfortunately such niceties do not exist in penal institutions. Your job is to help the inmates and administration. If you find this duty is beyond your ideals, then I suggest you start looking for employment elsewhere.
Yes, Mrs. Davidson.
I am prepared to give you the benefit of the doubt regarding this article. But in future, would you please ensure that all clippings are destroyed?
Yes, Mrs. Davidson.
Well, here's another batch of office fodder for the public service. What's the matter, love? You've been down all day.
Oh, it's nothing, Jude. Just me getting old.
Oh, come off it. You're not over the hill yet.
Look, at my age, in the game I'm in, you can go downhill at any point.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's not exactly the job you get long service leave for.
12 months in here. I can say goodbye to Smart's catering services. I was planning on a nice little nest egg from that.
Hey, listen to this. Hazel Kent's written a poem. I used to be a mother with 2 delightful kids until I started thieving and landed on the skids. But now I'm just a number, and both my kids are gone. Their lives are speeding past me, and my time just drags on.
Geez, that's real good, Bee.
Poor old Hayes. How's she ever going to get over losing her kids? Well, have you got everything ready for tomorrow, Bee? We can start setting it up tomorrow.
Yeah, well, except for my contribution, but I'll work on that tonight and myself. I've got plenty to work on since I've spoken to Helen. And we might be able to stir the screws up a bit and find out why they kept you in isolation so long.
All right, everyone, line up. You'll be searched one at a time.
Oh, what for?
Well, what's all this about?
From now on, all writing materials are only allowed in the rec room between 6 and 8 in the evening.
What? You're kidding.
But I've got all the stuff for the prison newspaper to work on tonight.
So do it in the rec room. I'll take it there for you.
Oh, 2 hours. Whoopee!
I was going to write a letter.
You can do that in the rec room. I'll do something about this, Bee.
Yeah, and I think I know what. Everyone been given the drum?
Come on, ladies. Off to the rec room.